Welcome to VAR Zambia, the podcast that puts Zambian football first. And of course, if you're looking for the best odds, you go to BetLion. If you're looking for the best analysis, you come and watch VAR Zambia. I'm your host, Isaac Chipatanga, and of course, I'm alongside the princess of VAR Zambia, Teresa. Teresa joins me on set. Teresa, welcome.
Flattery, Isaac.
I'm trying my best, huh?
Flattery. How are you doing?
I've been fantastic. How's your week?
My week was good.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, every day above the ground is a good day.
Ah, okay. Today we'll be looking back at an illustrious career, reflecting on it, of a man who I think epitomizes everything in terms of what is good about Zambian football on and off the field of play. James Chamanga retiring from football over the weekend, playing his last match against Zanakwat in Coloma Stadium. I think it's going to be an interesting conversation.
Listen, I got goosebumps.
Yeah.
25 years.
Yeah.
25 years of chasing a ball, kicking a ball. I got goosebumps just thinking about 25 years of an illustrious career in football. So I'm definitely looking forward to that interview.
Of course, you can be part and parcel of the conversation as you leave your comments in the comment section. Tell us about, your favorite moment in terms of James Chamanga's football career, and we'll be glad, to just reflect together in that regard on this edition of VAR Zambia. What else is coming up?
We've got our international news. I know we haven't had that for a few weeks, so we've got our international news. Something very interesting happened last night. Stick around, find out what I'm talking about. Yeah, I mean, Manchester United fans bring this upon themselves.
Yeah, well,
I'm yet to meet a Manchester United fan who's humble. Like, they're always so loud, from the WhatsApp statuses, to the streets, to the offices. They're always so loud. I can deal with Liverpool fans, but Manchester United? Goodness gracious.
No, I have to agree with you. But
yeah.
More importantly, I think it didn't surprise me at all, that result.
You saw it coming.
No, I saw it coming because the only thing United have been good at this particular season is been consistently bad.
Yikes. Yeah.
But also that calls into, into question the quality of football in the Europa League.
Yeah.
I mean, that's 16th. That's Manchester United in the Premier League against 17th.
The coach is being Amorim. He's being questioned as well.
Yeah.
Is he doing his job?
Yeah.
Is he doing what he's paid to do? So we'll take a little bit of a dive into the international front right here on VAR Zambia. Welcome back. Let's get right into our first international sporting story, and I'll try to keep a straight face lest Manchester United fans find me on the street and finish me like they were finished by Tottenham Hotspurs. So Tottenham beat Manchester United in the Europa League final. Isaac says he saw it coming. Now, they did win, Tottenham Hotspurs that is, they did win the Europa League. Tottenham Hotspur ended their 17-year wait for a trophy with a victory against Manchester United in the Europa League final. 17-year wait. They waited for 17 years to be able to lift this trophy. A lot of monumental things happened. We had Brennan Johnson, who scored the game's only goal in Bilbao, and Son becoming the first Tottenham captain to lift a trophy since Ledley King in 2008.
That was the Chiwugu Cup that they won in 2008. Popularly referred to as the Carabao Cup, but yeah,
so it was historic for them as Tottenham Hotspurs.
In fact, if you look at the overall time frame they've had to wait for a European crown, it's even longer because the last time they won was way back in 1984.
Yeah,
that's 41 years ago, almost as old as James Chamanga. Huh?
Yeah. Now, as for Manchester United, their awful final appearance in Bilbao means they will go without European football next season after the worst Premier League campaign in their history.
Yeah.
And the future, like I hinted earlier on, the future of both managers, United's Ruben Amorim and Spurs boss Ange, is a hot topic after difficult seasons, and they still have one league fixture to complete.
Yeah, I think this kind of helps Ange Postecoglou in terms of obviously lifting the gloom in terms of how dismal they have been over the course of this particular season.
Morale.
Yeah, but also I think it's going to help him in terms of negotiations when he goes into that boardroom with the owners of the team, at least he can say that I've got a trophy. And truth be told, there have been some great coaches at Tottenham Hotspur who have failed to win a trophy.
Yeah.
Jose Mourinho, for instance.
Yeah.
Pochettino, for instance, who's now the coach of the USA national team. So some great coaches have come to Tottenham Hotspur, failed to win a trophy. So Ange Postecoglou can put up his hand and say to the owners, I've done something that some of the greats have failed to do at this club.
All right, moving on to our second international story. 5 have been found guilty of hate crimes for racist abuse of Vinicius Jr. Now, 5 people have been handed suspended prison sentences. I absolutely hate suspended prison sentences because it defeats the purpose.
Yeah.
So 5 people have been handed suspended prison sentences for racially abusing Real Madrid forward Vinicius Jr. in an unprecedented ruling in Spain, and this is according to La Liga. Spain's top division said it is the first time that racist insults in a football stadium have been condemned as a hate crime in Spain. Vinicius, who's 24, appeared to be the subject of racist abuse during a game against Real Valladolid in September 2022 while he walked past fans after being substituted at Jose Zorrilla Stadium.
I think it's a joke from, La Liga.
Absolute joke.
Joke by the Spanish authorities.
Yeah.
Because if you read that story in its entirety, you quickly notice that they are being fined, I think, something in the region of 900, euros or something like that.
913 pounds.
Really?
Between 913 pounds and 1,369
That's
pounds.
a slap in the face of Vinicius, if
Yeah.
you ask me, because it's not enough to deter these so-called hooligans, if I may
They've
call
also
them
been
that. Yeah.
banned for 3 years from attending.
Rightly so,
any
but I think
games.
the fine should have been more hefty to
Agreed.
ensure that it deters them from doing that, and even others from
Yeah.
doing that in the future, because now they've set a precedence. There's no way they're going to go from 913, whatever, if it's euros or pounds or dollars, to go to 100,000. You see what I mean? So
Yeah.
for me, for most individuals who can afford to even go and watch a football match, which is something in the region of $50 per ticket per game in European football, that's a drop in the ocean.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? I'm sure they can afford that almost as pocket change.
So it makes absolutely no
Absolutely
difference.
no difference. I think the La Liga are basically just trying to rehearse this whole issue, and I think they should be serious moving forward.
Okay, moving right along, a footballer has admitted to a plot to smuggling 600,000 pounds of cannabis. Ichamba. Ichamba.
Yeah.
Now, a professional footballer has admitted his involvement in a plot to smuggle drugs with a street value of 600,000 pounds from Thailand into the United Kingdom. J. Emmanuel Thomas, 34, was arrested after 60 kilograms of cannabis was found in suitcases arriving at London. In Essex on the 2nd of September, he was sacked by his Scottish club after being charged and having previously played for Arsenal, Aberdeen, Ipswich Town and England at youth level. Arsenal just had to pop up in this bad PR.
No,
But-
that's exactly what I'm laughing at.
Yeah, I figured.
I was about to ask you, club which club in North London?
Yeah,
Not the one that's won a trophy, the other one, the red part.
Yeah.
Chamba.
Just imagine now, Emmanuel is a father of 2, yeah, and he duped his 33-year-old girlfriend and her 28-year-old friend into collecting the cannabis in Thailand and smuggling it into the UK. They were given an all-expenses-paid trip to the country and promised a payment of 2,000, I beg your pardon, £500. Just goes to show how women love
How many times did he represent Arsenal? Read the story.
the lifestyle.
Now,
All expenses paid trip.
I think I had 5 times. Read on. Five times he represented which club again? I say no. Can't see Musunga want to chamba my dressing room, but I say no.
So Emmanuel Thomas made 5 first-team appearances for Arsenal. Also going on to play for Bristol City, Queen's Park Rangers, MK Dons, and a Thai-based
team ya Mukombo. We
team
were just concentrating on
PTT
Arsenal.
Rayong in 2019. First 5-team appearances for Arsenal. Well, he doesn't play for Arsenal anymore, so moving right along.
He's probably corrupted everybody, and everybody now is in a dazed mode at Arsenal. They can't even see the goal straight. That's why probably they're not winning any trophies.
Moving right along, okay, moving right along. Now, as we wrap up our international news stories, extra spots should Euro 2028 hosts fail to qualify. I like this. I think it's only fair. Now, UEFA has said that joint hosts England, Scotland, Wales, and the Republic of Ireland will have to qualify for Euro 2028. But 2 places will be reserved at the finals should any of the host nations fail to qualify.
I don't
You're
agree.
shaking your head.
I don't agree. I don't agree.
Why don't you agree?
First and foremost, I think there's a format that has worked for a long, long time.
Yeah.
The host nation qualifies automatically. You know what that does?
Okay. What does it do?
Look at the crowds. I'll take Zambia as a point in case.
Yeah.
When we hosted the Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations in 2017, the Zambian matches were packed.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
You understand? I think UEFA are somewhat of a business because they want to make a profit.
Yeah.
One of the ways they make a profit is through ticket sales. And imagine there's a match in Scotland between Hungary and Czech Republic. There's chances that it's not going to be full. So you want all the host nations to be there, to be playing in front of their home crowds. It means more money for UEFA.
True.
It's a no-brainer.
True.
So why would they want potentially 2 of the 4 hosting nations not to be there? Imagine if Scotland doesn't qualify.
True.
And then you've got a match between Georgia and Kazakhstan. Likely for a 40,000, 50,000 capacity stadium to be filled with just 10,000 people.
But I mean, you've answered yourself. They're trying to make a buck.
Yeah, so the only way you can guarantee making a buck is if the host nations are in the tournament.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. Now, imagine a situation where Scotland finishes bottom of their group. England doesn't qualify.
Yeah.
Northern Ireland doesn't qualify. Okay, all 4 of them don't qualify.
Yeah.
What happens? You're going to have a match at Wembley with England not involved.
Yeah.
How is that going to help them? It's probably going to be a half-empty full.
I mean, we wait. These things are subject to changes and deliberation.
Hopefully,
so hopefully
they don't smoke some of that jamba.
Cannabis.
Yeah, exactly.
And on
Get
that
back to their
note, we've
senses.
come to the end of our international news. Let's take a breather, and when we do get back, we'll get to sit down with legendary Zambian footballer James Chamanga.
It's a man who's represented Zambia at 5 different Africa Cup of Nations editions, and of course is part of that winning 2012 side that brought joy to Mother Zambia in Gabon. I'm talking about the illustrious career of James Chamanga, who joins us on set for this edition of VAR Zambia. James, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, and I'm glad to be here.
25 years of service in terms of giving us, joys, thrills, and spills. For somebody who's out there, what prompted you? Let's begin from the genesis. What prompted you, to be a footballer? What sparked that interest in you?
Yeah, born in Luansha, I was born in a family of footballers.
Yeah.
I was a boy for United, so everything was I was just surrounded around football, and from the beginning we just do TFM Pombwa, playing from school, coming home. Shoes dirty, but I was just around a football family.
On the flip side of it,
So
what sparked that decision ultimately for you?
Yeah,
to retire?
my elder brother, our 4th born brother, was playing for United, and I was staying with him. So I used to wash his boots, and I used to wear them, the oversized boots. So I used to think I'll fit in, but it was too soon by then. But it already prompted me from then, from that time, that one day I'll play football.
Okay.
And they used to give me nicknames and everything, but it was a long time ago.
We'll get to the nicknames, because I know your latest one was Jemba Jemba. I don't know how that came about. But I want to flip the script, so to speak. We're talking about what prompted and sparked that interest in you to take up football. But now, what sparked, the decision for you to decide, 25 years I think is enough in terms of international or professional football, and decide, I think it's time for me to give up and just, not give up, retire.
I think me being in football, I've been wanting to achieve things. And look at my age at 45, I thought, okay, I cannot go to the World Cup anymore. I can no longer get back to my prime, because now the legs cannot allow anymore, and also so I want to achieve. I don't want to just be playing football. So I thought no, I cannot go further.
Maybe your
I
body
can
was
go-
giving you some signals. Double chat,
Not really.
Kapola 1 week, he managed to protect
I
1
just
month.
came to realization that I can't go to the World Cup in this age.
Yeah.
So I can now go maybe do it on the coaching side.
Okay.
You know, this is one thing that I think I'm still missing, and also winning the African CAF Confederation or Champions League is what is missing on my CV,
On my
and I can't
CV,
do
yeah.
it
Yeah.
on this age. So I came to realize that I can't do it.
You wanted to give
It's-
chance
it's
to the youngsters, probably.
Yeah, to the young ones, and think we now to mentor them, and maybe I can win on the other side. I thought it was just about time for me to give the young ones a chance.
We'll delve into your professional career in a moment or two, but I wanted to just understand. You had some great coaches, especially at school level. I know you from your days at Kablonga. I was at Munali. You were slightly ahead of me when you were finishing playing for Zambia schools in 2002 or somewhere there. I was now taking over the mantle from you, but you had great coaches at Kablonga Boys. I mean, Gilbert Band, nicknamed Ginger Master.
Yes.
I mean, what sort of a role did people like those play?
You know,
in your
these
career?
people gave me hope. You know, when you're coming out of school, mainly your parents will be wanting just to go to do school, and that's it. So these people saw something in me that I didn't see in myself.
Yeah.
They told me to say you can become someone in football. By then, football wasn't really as it is now, where they're saying today's football is a business. By then, it was just like a career. You understand? So these people gave me hope, and that I can become someone in football, and one day I can play for the national team, and also go all the way to play even international.
Yeah.
So they gave me hope, and this is the biggest role that they played, because they gave me hope, and then I started believing in myself that yeah, truly I can do something.
Okay.
Great stuff. Now, there's a saying that no man is an island, and there's someone who played a very monumental role in shaping your professional career. Let's introduce Simata. Simata, how did he shape your professional career?
Yeah. First of all, I call him my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when I came from Kablonga Boys after my grade 12, I couldn't go to college because of financial difficulties.
Okay.
Yeah, but Mr. Mbewe, by then is late now, is the one that introduced me.
Isn't it?
Yes.
Yes,
He's the one that
yes,
Teddy Mbewe is the one that introduced me to Mr. Simata, and he said, "Oh, this boy, I think has got something in his legs. Can you have a look at him?"
Yeah.
So Mr. Simata said, "Okay, you come for training." So when I went the first time, they said, "But this one looks like he's shy. He can't play football." And Mr. Simata said, "Okay, come, we train. Have one session with us."
Yeah.
Immediately he saw something in me and said, "Okay, I need to start coming for training now, seriously, and join the team."
I know that Simata played a crucial role, and I know Teresa is itching to ask further questions about your professional career. But on the subject of Simata, what did it mean for him to be there at your final match at Coloma Stadium? I saw him, embrace you at the end of that 90 minutes in your final game as a professional footballer. What did it mean for him to be there?
You know, it's like a full stop at the end of a sentence. So
Full circle 360.
Yeah, so it was complete for me.
Yeah.
You understand? I wished for this moment to end like this.
Yeah.
With him on the pitch. So I called him personally from home. I said, "Dad, I need to come on I need to give you my hand over my last jersey, which is I can't give you anything compared to what I can give you on this day. I can give you money, I can give you anything, I can give you my last jersey," which shows how much you meant to me and what you have built in a man like me to become what I've become in football. What is meant to me for him to be on the pitch with me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Beautiful stuff. Now, in these 25 years, which coach would you say has had the greatest impact? I know this is a bit of a tough question, but which coach would you say this one has had possibly the biggest impact?
Okay, like you have said, there are a lot.
Yeah.
But Mr. Simata is the one that stands out still, because this is a beginning.
Yeah.
Because without him trusting in me and giving me the opportunity to begin with Makumbi Stars,
Yeah.
they won't be a James today.
Yeah.
So he's the biggest, of course, over. So that's why I had to hand over the James to him, because for me, he is the one that played the biggest.
But overall,
part in
you
my
played
career.
under some great coaches. I know that Kalusha, the great man, gave you your debut way back in 2005 in South Africa. You played under Gavin Hunt. I've seen the pictures. Peter Mosamani. I've seen the pictures that have gone viral in the last 24 hours of you handing over a jersey, to Wedson Urenda, one of the great strikers that Zambia has produced. I know that you've said Simata is the greatest in terms of influence on your career, but just give us a little bit of how those various coaches that I've mentioned impacted you as a striker.
First of all, I'm not as good as people think today. The biggest thing that they taught me or they influenced me with was the mental aspect.
Yeah.
I'm so positive. I don't have a negative in my brain. You understand? I'm that positive.
Were you always like that? Were you always
I've been
positive?
always like that. You see, you don't know how many times they dropped me at the national team from the under 17 up to under 23. I never played for all these national teams.
Yeah.
They dropped me to the extent of where people that were calling me, they started saying, "We have dropped you." They had to remind me that you have brought me. Why are you coming back? I said, "No, they called me again." I said, "No, they didn't call you. You have to go." Then I could go, and then again they'll call me, and the people that are in camp, they would know that they haven't called me. They have called me, and they didn't know that I've been called.
Yeah.
They haven't been notified that I've been called. So they will see me in camp. They say, "No, we dropped you." But they say, "No, they've called me again."
Yes.
You understand? They got tired of me. You understand?
Yeah.
But I never gave up.
Try
And
and try again. Try and try
Yes.
again.
Now this is what these people polished, these coaches, because when Kalusha Bwalya came in, it's a time when there were so many senior players. I was such a young boy, so many of the players didn't even know about me. I was coming out of Bowlen, a very small team by then, National Assembly, City of Lusaka. So they didn't know much about me. So it was difficult to fit in. But the mental aspect is what they polished. These coaches, they made me stronger to understand how to play football. When I'm on the bench, coming from the bench, or starting the game, or coming out of the team, and then they call me back, it's the mental aspect which they polished.
All right. Now, you've obviously and of course played for the Zambia national team and many different clubs. Let's talk about some of the highlights in these clubs that you have played. What are some of the highlights in these clubs that you have played for? And also, how did you prepare for some of these big matches, particularly 2012?
Yeah. One of the biggest highlights, of course, is scoring 5 goals in South Africa against Swallows. This time, the team was doing very well, and I was just like in my good form.
Yeah.
So when the 5 goals came, it was like a shock to me. You know, like I couldn't explain what was happening even to me. You know, when the guys after the game finished, they were saying, "No, this guy is using Muti and everything. How can he score 5 goals in one game?"
Yeah.
I said that I don't believe in such, and it never works for me. I don't know if it works for others. For me, I've never believed in such.
Yeah.
It was a great moment. I was in great form.
Yeah.
That was one of the biggest highlights.
Okay.
At club level international. This is in South Africa.
This is for Morocco.
Yeah, Morocco Swallows.
Yeah.
And then going into Nations Cup, the 2012. The biggest highlight in that tournament for me is the game against Ghana.
Yeah.
I didn't score, but I started the game.
Okay.
After I scored against Sudan in the quarterfinal,
Quarterfinals,
then in the semi-final. Renard said, "Okay, Mayuka over the run. Let's start the big man."
Yeah.
We shook hands. He wished me well.
Yeah.
I was starting the game. The game was just too.
It was tough.
It was tough game.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. That guy, Boateng or something, he tackled me in the midfield. I felt like my leg was broken or something.
Yeah.
The game went on and we went on. They kept on missing us. They kept on missing chances.
Yeah.
But we could feel like something is going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, and finally Maika came in second half. He came in for me, and he scored a good goal, and we're in the finals.
Yeah.
So this is one of the other biggest highlights for me. These other games were just okay games, but this one
It stood out.
stood out as one of the.
Is there a
best
particular
highlights.
goal or a particular match that has stood out in your entire 25 years career?
I think for me the biggest one is the same one in 2012.
Yeah.
Against Sudan, you know, it's like again they already scored. As soon as they already scored, Katonga had already scored.
Yeah.
It's like the cake is already made. I'm just putting the icing on the cake. You
yeah,
understand?
yeah.
The goal is just like beautiful for me. You understand?
Yeah.
Because it's one of my way of I love to score.
Do you
the goals.
realize that you've scored in 4 of the 5 Africa Cup of Nations? that
Yes,
you did?
yes, I'm aware of that.
Dated
and,
back to 2006, 2008, 2010, and 2012.
Yeah, but the 2012 one was special because, of course, we went on to win the tournament.
Yeah.
But why it wasn't not only winning the tournament, but getting to
the
semi-final.
Yeah.
So this was after a very long time, you know,
Yeah.
after from 2006 up to 2012, it was like almost 5 years.
You mentioned 2012, and in particular, the route that Zambia had to take to get to the 2012 AFCON final. Remember that the tournament was co-hosted between Equatorial Guinea and Gabon.
Yeah.
The only way Zambia was going to make a return to Gabon for the first time since the 1993 Gabon disaster was to get to the final. It was somewhat written in the stars, and I kind of understand why you're saying that semi-final really stands out as one of the highlights in terms of your career. But I wanted to find out, somebody was whispering to me, 25 years? That's a quarter of a century playing football. That's a long, long time. A lot of injuries. But he particularly asked me to ask you this question. You must have seen a lot of people using charms, black magic, juju.
Is that a thing? Is it a thing? Does it happen?
Yeah, it is there.
Yeah.
It is there. But in my last 25 years, I can tell you,
You've seen it quite a lot.
I've seen quite a lot.
Yeah.
And I've
Like from
there's
players, fans?
speculations from the fans,
Yeah.
old people, friends telling me when I get injured, no, somebody did this to you. Let me tell you, I'm a child of God.
Amen.
And I've believed for years, of
Love
25 years
it.
of my football.
Yeah.
With confidence, I can tell you, juju doesn't work for anybody. The end of it all, you're going to be destitute. You'll even be worse than people that you left behind.
Listen, you're taking
You
us to
understand?
church. Love it. I love
I'm telling
it.
you, I'm telling
Absolutely
you.
love
I'm telling
it.
you, for me to be standing for 25 years, not because I'm so good,
Yeah.
but it's by the grace.
Love
you know,
it.
but very serious injuries in my career,
Yeah.
which took me about 8 months, each of them,
Recovery.
for me to recover. But I had to stand up to say, I'm going to come back and still play.
You are one of those rare breeds in terms of, the art of goal scoring in football. Because I don't know if you realize it, but you're one of the few Zambian strikers who has won the top scorer in the Zambian Super League
Yes.
and won the top scorer in another country, in South Africa to be more precise. At the moment, we seem to have a crisis. I mean, our main striker, Patson Daka, is not getting much game time. The local league has just ended, but Zambian who's just scored 13 goals in 34 matches. It's not very inspiring. What do you put that down to?
I think the problem is these young players they have stopped learning.
Yeah.
You need to have a mind of continuation. You have to be learning continuously.
Yeah.
They stop learning. When they score 5 goals, satisfaction level is too low. You understand? And the other thing that you see, they're doing only for themselves. They're forgetting about the club and the nation.
Yeah.
You must not do it for, personal glory can be achieved anytime.
Yeah.
Being
Yeah.
a top scorer. I've got so many trophies from China. I scored over 200 goals.
Yeah.
Those are from personal gain.
Yeah.
But what about for the nation? So
Yeah.
this isn't a problem. They've got satisfaction level only for themselves is good enough.
Yeah.
But to do it more for the nation, they need to have a learning mind.
Okay.
This is where the crisis is. I
Yeah.
think they stop learning when they achieve something.
Okay, so you spoke about national level. Let's talk about the pressure. How did you handle that pressure? You're playing for the national team, you're representing the country out there in South Africa, in China. How did you handle that pressure?
At the beginning you are young. You
Yeah.
understand? So when you're starting at the beginning, of course you'll be nervous.
Yeah.
You understand? You'll be nervous. So how I handled the pressure, I had to know my age
Yeah.
and people I associate with.
Yeah.
You understand? I'll get to the point of that.
Yeah.
When you're young, you need to lean on the elders
Yeah.
in the game. You can't just climb a tree from the leaves.
Okay.
You understand?
Yeah.
So now I have to get advice from the elders who are ahead of me
Yeah.
at the national team level, and they could advise me on how to handle each game.
Okay.
And I was slowly being introduced to the games. It's
Yeah.
different from now because now we don't have so many senior players because they're ending up so fast. So we don't have so many senior old players in the different teams. So now the young players are on their own. So they're introduced to the game from the first minute until the last. They don't know how to handle the pressure.
Yeah.
But how I handled the pressure is because in that time I had a listening ear from the one that have gone ahead of me. You understand? So
Yeah.
it was able. You can't just tell them how to handle the pressure. They have to go through the process of the pressure for them to know how to handle the pressure.
Yeah.
So how to go to the
People like
learning.
Harry Milanzi.
Yes, Harry Milanzi.
Those guys when you were joining the national team.
Stione,
Yeah.
all these people, Bakala, everybody, they were guiding us, Litana, everybody. They would shout at me, but I should have a listening ear and be humble.
Correction.
Still correct me, and be humble to hear from them. Don't think they will outshine your moment. You
Yeah.
understand? This is what the problem with the young players today. They think when I get advice from James, they will think it's me who's playing through him.
Yeah.
And then, like I'm outshining their moment because I one who spoke to Patson Daka or somebody else
Yeah.
or anybody else.
Yeah.
They shouldn't think like that. They should
Yeah.
be able to learn from the past experienced players for them on how to handle the pressure.
You've actually answered my next question. I was about to ask you for advice to young footballers who are watching and they want to be the next, James, and they're sitting and thinking, how do I get to where you are?
Yeah, there's been let's say I've been asked again.
Yeah.
They should be understanding the age and what to do at their age.
Okay.
Yeah. What's happening is this: most of these players, they're associating themselves. For example, player under 20, you can't be found associating with people that are outside life now, outside of football.
Okay.
with players that are over 30.
Yeah.
Because what they're exposed to and what you're going to be exposed to when you're under 17 is a problem.
Yeah.
So this is the problem with the players that we have now.
Yeah.
They don't know their age and what to associate with.
Yeah.
So now they associate with people that are older than them, and they're mingling with the things which are supposed to be done at 17. They want to do the things for 37.
True.
So you can't cope with this.
Yeah.
So they should be able to understand whom to be associating with out of football
Yeah.
in their personal life.
Okay.
This has been the biggest problem for me. They don't understand this. So what's happening, because they're exposed to money, fame,
Yeah.
and they think they're able to handle this.
Yeah.
No, it needs maturity for you to handle this.
Yeah.
So this has been, for me, I think, the biggest challenge.
Let's
for
talk
their players.
about that word challenge. I mean, you must have come up against many world-class defenders. I mean, which one really stands out?
For me, it's in 20
which player in particular stands out because of their qualities in terms of defensive work? Really gave you the most challenging times.
I think it's Rigobert Song.
Yeah.
He came in 20. We lost 5-0 in 2008, I think.
I remember that game.
Yeah, so we never had a chance.
Yeah.
But I said, okay, no problem. In 2010 again, we qualified and I met him again.
Yeah.
But this time it was not compared to what it was, because
Yeah.
I ripped up from my previous challenges with him, but he really gave me a very difficult time.
Yeah.
He was a very experienced defender, very mature. But he's marking with you, but he's still advising you and telling you what to do.
Yeah.
Some of the things we say, no, listen, you're still coming in the game. Sometimes some of the things you're trying to do with me, you can't do them because I'm already ahead of you. But some of the things may show a bit of disrespect to me. But we need to be able to understand. But he was very a good senior player to me.
Yeah.
And we spoke a bit in 2008, but in 2010 it was different. I was a bit mature and I could stand against him.
I wanted to ask a question, as you say in Rigobert Song there, because I know he speaks predominantly French. What language were you using to play?
He was using English because he was in England for a long time.
Yeah,
Liverpool. So
okay.
His
English was that good?
Yeah, it was okay English. We could communicate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Speaking of languages, while you were in South Africa, China, did you pick up on any foreign languages?
I'm very bad.
You're very bad. Yeah.
I'm very bad. Even in China, my wife used to translate for me.
Oh, okay.
She learned a bit of Chinese, so she was able to translate for me when we go to the markets and everything.
Yeah.
But football has got no language.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, it's
So
just
universal language.
just universal language.
Stole the words right out of my mouth, Isaac. It is indeed a universal language.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about the next chapter. One chapter has ended. You're still living, breathing, and moving. What does the next chapter entail for you? Does it entail coaching, mentoring? What can we expect
I
from
think
you?
all those aspects are there.
Yeah,
But for now, it's just a break because, like you said earlier, 25 years has been a long time.
very long time.
My kids have missed me. My
Yeah.
family has missed me. So just to take a break a bit. I'm
Yeah.
not going to be out of football.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like you have mentioned, all those aspects are there.
Yeah.
Mentoring, of course, coaching. I've been in football for 25 years, so I can't go in farming.
Yeah.
I'm not saying farming is bad. I'm
Yeah.
saying I can do both, but
Yeah.
my main is football.
Okay.
So I'm still going to be in football.
Okay.
Lovely.
Yeah.
I saw some very heartwarming pictures in your final match at Coloma Stadium. You and your kids. What did it mean to have your family there in one of the most important moments of your life?
First of all, the send-off from Zaf, of course, Red Arrows,
Yeah.
has been overwhelming to me and my family.
Yeah.
Zaf has never done this for any player.
Yeah.
It's the first time. Of course, I have to thank
Yeah.
the commander and to the list,
Yeah.
the executive and
Yeah.
the technical bench, the way they've honored me.
Yeah.
But to be with my family and the commander comes out of the office to come and just to shake my hands with my family
Yeah.
is such an honor.
Yeah.
And they have set a very high example to other teams.
Yeah.
And if someone, not only me,
Yeah.
they give all to the game and they can inspire others, because leadership is about that. Inspire others to become better than me and what I've achieved with Red Arrows. They should be able to do the same for them. But it's such an honor for me and my family to have been honored in this way.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful to Command
Yeah.
and also to the executive of Red Arrows. They have honored me in a way that I didn't even imagine. It has been sleepless nights for me the past few days.
Yeah.
Just gossiping on what they did, because you don't know what is in the background. But from what you saw at in Coloma,
Yeah.
has been coming even in my house and everything, even to my family,
Yeah.
has been overwhelming. But we are really grateful, and it was just a great send off to see Mr. Simata, the old Patrick Peary, everybody.
Yeah.
They invited the old players who were playing for Red Arrows, the senior players.
Yeah.
They all came. It was just lovely, and it was just overwhelming to see everybody else to celebrate with me.
Before
Beautiful.
Teresa comes in with our next question, I wanted to ask this. With Power Dynamos already wrapping up the league title, the focus was mainly on you and your retirements in terms of the final matches in the league. But also, you retired against alongside one of the great servants of Zambian football in Rachakola,
Yes,
the Zanaco
together with,
goalkeeper,
Chingano.
and of course Chingano. What is your word to your fellow retirees, if I may put it that way, bowing out on the same day, and you've given so much, to the Zambian game?
The game has given us something, and we need to give back.
Yeah.
So now we shouldn't want to see the players what I was. So they cannot become me.
Yeah.
I can just give them what I have, and they can become something better than me. You understand? So we need to give back to the game. So my advice to them is that they must embrace now a transition to the other side, because it's not going to be easy. It's like you're starting again grade one, because coaching and football and playing is different. You can be a good player, but you can be a bad coach. So we need to embrace the beginning, because it's not going to be easy, but to embrace the difficulties, and also just to stay humble and keep trusting God.
This next question is going to take Teresa into that tricky question I was talking about just before we came onto this interview. You must have played alongside some great strikers. Probably their movement off the ball created space for you to run in and score goals. If you had to pinpoint and choose one particular strike partner that you had, it might be at the national team, at club level, who would that be, and what qualities did they bring that complemented your abilities?
Jacobo Mlenga.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we complemented each other very well, because of course he had good agility, he could jump, speed, endurance.
Yeah.
Those are some of the qualities which are also in me. Of course, his scoring, most of it was not really as compared to mine, but he complemented me well because of his agility, his speed, his endurance.
Yeah.
We were able to accommodate my kind of game.
Yeah.
Because I was playing not mainly a pinpoint striker, but I was playing like a number 10 or 8 from the midfield. So he could complement me well when I go up, to complement me, to come and cover me. We had a very good understanding between the two of us. So he's the one that stands out for me.
Okay. Now let's talk about, you don't have to give reasons, by the way. No reasons, no justifications. Let's talk about your dream Zambia 11 players. This could be players you've played with or against. Who do you pick? Who do you put in there? No justifications, no explanations. Let's just throw them in there. Yeah, let's go.
In goal, I'll go with Kennedy Mwene.
Okay.
Yeah, we had also other keepers, Kalililo.
Yeah.
No need to explain, just
No hard feelings.
I put Kennedy Mwene.
Kennedy Mwene, yes.
Okay.
On the right back, I put Clever Chilensa.
Okay.
Okay.
Joseph Msonda on the left.
Okay.
I put Elijah Tana with Monde.
Okay.
Yes, and then I put Isaac.
Yeah.
Number 6.
Holding midfield.
Holding midfield. I put, maybe the people would have wanted Renford to be on the side, but I put him inside.
Okay, just ahead of
Yes,
Isaac.
ahead of Isaac.
Yeah.
With Chris.
Okay.
Yes. And
So this is 4-3-3.
Yes.
Okay.
Then on the left I put, I'll go with Felix.
Okay.
And then on the right, the right has been a bit of a challenge for me. But I will sneak in.
Don't worry, you can even put yourself in if you like.
No, me, I'm going with Jacobo in front, because
Okay.
he's my partner, whom I partnered with well.
Yeah.
So on the right, I'll go with Noah. On the left, Noah Chivuta. Then on the right, Felix Katongo, and then me and Jacobo in front.
Okay.
I never said reasons, but let me ask.
Don't.
No. I have to ask this. In 2005, you played alongside Kalusha. I remember he scored a free kick against Liberia when he was, I think, in his 40s.
I didn't play in that game.
You didn't play in that game?
I was on the bench.
Okay.
Yeah, so
it doesn't count.
it doesn't count as in the
okay.
first 11.
Yeah.
It counts from, I think, from the Katongos who played with him on the pitch.
Yeah.
He was my coach.
Yeah.
He was my coach.
Coach
When he
player.
came in, he was a coach player.
Yeah.
So that's why I didn't put him in the first 11.
Okay.
I know
Zambians would have been
people will be
screaming at you.
Okay.
But you know what it is. The good part of people screaming at me, would be they wouldn't know where I would put him.
Yeah.
You understand? So it would be good for us to have questions asked, criticized. It's good. It's not like I underrate Mr. Kalusha Bwalya, but you know, it can be put somewhere else in the same first 11 because he was my coach. So
actually, let me ask this: who manages this team? I mean, you some great coaches. I mean,
yeah, because
I mean, if this
no,
team
if this team was to be assembled, I will give it to Mr. Kalusha Bwalya at that time.
Ah, okay.
Because of how we worked with him when I just broke into the national
That's a
team.
diplomatic answer.
Yes.
I like the way you've gotten out of jail.
Alrighty. All right. Listen, it's been absolutely amazing. I always say on the show that I believe in giving people their flowers. And I'm sitting here and I was listening to the advice that you were giving young and upcoming footballers. And let me just say that he's definitely a testament to that. He arrived right on time.
Yeah.
He didn't make us wait, you know. No celebrity business. He
Yeah.
was here on time. And I think his aura just speaks to everything that he's been advising young and upcoming footballers. I'm not a footballer, but I got the advice and I'm latching onto it. Thank you so much and all the best with everything that you're yet to pursue.
Thanks for
James Chamanga, pleasure.
Thank you for having me, and I'm excited. I support local, and
Yeah.
I love local, so let's support all local broadcasters. Thanks for sharing my story, and hopefully that one person can emulate and just go over my record. I wouldn't want to be having this record to say, no, James Chamanga is the only one for the last 25 years we have had in the next 10 years. No, I want somebody in the next generation to go over 45. Some of them, they're already in their 30s, so they've got 10 years, 15 years more. So let them do well to go over my record.
Yeah.
We celebrate them as well.
Beautiful.
So that we can have another person that we can look up to, not only James Chamanga.
James Chamanga, many thanks. 17 goals in 59 or 58 appearances for the Chipolo Polo boys. He's been our special guest on this edition of VAR Zambia. We put him under the microscope. What a fantastic show it has been, reflecting on the legacy and career of James Chamanga. And of course, I'm alongside the princess of VAR Zambia, Teresa. Teresa, your final patting shots as we close this edition of VAR Zambia.
What was that? You said my potting shot. You know, my intrusive thoughts literally what I was about to take this ball and kick it. Oh my gosh. So embarrassing. Anyways.
What stood out for you from that, chit chat that we had with, James Chamanga?
I think it was the advice that he was giving to young footballers when he spoke about humility, when he spoke about being open to correction, when he spoke about discipline, when he spoke about behaving your age. If you're 17, you're in an under 17 team, behave like a child. You're a child. Don't rush to do things that grown-ups are doing. I also loved the part where he spoke about the juju, the question that you asked him. As a believer in Christ myself, that was definitely tops for me. So yeah, I absolutely loved the interview and his humility as a person.
From start to finish, I loved every single bit of that interaction that we had with James Chamanga. So just similar to his career, I loved everything about it. Some of us have known him even before he became a star. When he was playing for Kablonga, and we had some intense rivalries between Kablonga and Munali boys where I attended my high school. So yeah, lovely chat that we had with him, and hoping that we can have him on subsequent programs, probably to impart that knowledge that he was talking about a little bit more into the next generation of Zambian footballers.
Definitely. This has been VAR Zambia. Thank you so much for clicking the subscribe, clicking the like button. We'll be back next week with John, hopefully, the Three Musketeers. Mwah.
Bye-bye.